Hey, I'm Dennis Lightheart. I'm from Hamilton, Ontario, and I play rhythm guitar in Burban Legend. Alright, so to be honest, what really got me into punk was when I first started, I was actually into doing YouTube at the time. And a friend of mine needed a place for his band, the Upper Deckers, which was the first band I played in. Um, they needed a place to practice. So I let them use my place to practice on the deal that they would make music for my YouTube channel and I would produce videos for their band. And as time went on, I just started getting more and more into the music side of it, and that's when we started making the digital flyers for shows. And having to hear not having to hear, but using local bands music, I got to hear a lot of the music that was going around the scene, which just caught my attention and I fell in love with it. And from there on in, I just kind of went with it, and here we are. One of my main influences when I was growing up was my aunt. She owned a security company, which got me a job, and it was a security company where we did security for musicians. And, doing that job for so long in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s, I got to meet some really cool musicians. And I found it taught me one really, really cool lesson that musicians are just people. They're just human beings like everybody else. You'll always have those few that have the great big heads on their shoulders. But other than that, though, most of them are just everyday humans like us, and they just want to be treated as such. All right, my first concert that I ever went to, I was roughly about 11 years old. My aunt, the same one that gave me the job as security, was the one that took me to the concert, and it was House of Pain. And I'll tell you, that really opened my eyes. It was a wild show out in Toronto. And the very first punk show that I went to, and mind you, this is that I went to outside of the job of security, this is I went to on my own, would be a slam fest here in Hamilton at This Ain't Hollywood. And it had the Upper Deckers playing, and this was before I was in the band. This was when I was just supporting them. And Bacon, which was awesome. Bacon was a really great band, and it was it was a great show. And then all the other slam fests afterwards. It was a frickin' awesome time. All right. One of my favorite shows that I've ever seen, I was probably about 14 years old, and I had to wait all night in line for Tragically Hip tickets at Cops Coliseum. And I thought I was waiting for tickets so my parents can go. They didn't want to wait in the line, so they were making me do it. And I was all miserable because I'm like, these motherfuckers are fucking making me wait in line all night to get them tickets. So I got them the tickets, brought them home, and they were like, surprise, tickets are for you. So I got to go see the Tragically Hip, had a fun time, met a lot of really cool people in the line that night, because, fucking little fucking kid waiting in this line for music tickets. It was freaking great, That was a really good time. Some of the other best shows that I've seen, I used to go down to the Gathering of the Juggalos, which is kind of like a Woodstock for hip-hop murder bands. And It would last like 4 days. You'd be out camping. Some of the best people I've ever met in my life at these shows. And I don't know, it was just a good time. Some of the best times I'll ever remember in my whole life. One other show that I went and saw, which was a little bit more recently, is we went to the Toronto Amphitheater, and we got to see Iron Maiden playing with Alice Cooper. And both bands are amazing, you know, but one thing that I really appreciated, especially being an older musician, is watching the energy that these guys had running around stage. You know, they're freaking rocking out, dude, and they're like fucking older than I am, and I have a hard time walking up the stairs, and these guys were just killing it. So yeah, that was a very great show. Bands that I've been in, I have been in the Upper Deckers, and I've also currently am in Burban Legend. But one project that we are working on right now is we are doing a DIY studio for local bands and musicians that don't have the opportunity or the means to record themselves. The idea is to get more local bands, you know, recording so they can get more demos and get their names out there and just kind of promote the local scene a little bit more and try and help people that just don't have the means to record themselves. So that's one project that we've been working on, and we're hoping that it just helps promote local bands and you know, bring back the local scene. Alright, so one of the craziest things that I've seen at a show is this is the Upper Deckers' very first show that they're ever in, right? Maybe their second. And I'm not even in the band at this point. I'm just help promoting, running the show. And to get a big crowd into this show, we got Gnarly Skull back together for one reunion show to come and mainline this Upper Deckers show. We get a bunch of other bands, they show up, show's going great, house is packed, right? I got Motor City, which were the Oak Hearts at the time, up on stage. They're playing their hearts out, and boom, huge commotion in the back. Well, doesn't our bass player, the Upper Deckers, he decides he's gonna pick a fight with the bass player from Gnarly Skull, Kevin. Well, doesn't that start a fucking huge uproar? Almost kills the whole fucking night. In the midst of this argument going on, the drummer from Gnarly Skull decides he's going to get so fucking drunk he can't finish the set. So I'm thinking, oh my god, I'm gonna have to give all these fucking people their money back because they showed up to see a fucking band, and it never fucking happened. Just by pure fucking luck, the whole band Anvil Strike just happened to be in the crowd. So they were like, hey, do you mind if we jump on and finish your night? And I was like, damn Skippy boys. And you know what? They fucking jumped up on stage, finished the fucking night, turned out to be freaking awesome in the end. But yeah, that was one crazy show. Alright, I'd have to say the number one thing that I like about being a musician, other than making music, is just getting to meet all these really cool people, you know, from different walks of life. And, you know, it brings people together. Music is a universal language that everybody can speak. And I just really like the fact that it really brings people together. The thing I dislike about music the most, at least the music industry, is the gatekeeping that goes on. You know, I think instead of, you know, oh, you know, this person isn't punk because of this, or this person's not hip hop because of that, maybe we should just be more inclusive and, you know, let people fucking make the music that they enjoy and be parts of the crowds that they want to be part of, and, make the world a better place. All right, so I actually have two really good useless talents. My first useless talent is I'm really, really good at guessing voice actors. I can tell when one voice actor plays multiple characters. I'm very good at that. My second most useless talent is remembering song lyrics incorrectly. I am so great at that, it's not funny. Alright, my favorite food, of course, being Italian, would have to be the pasta. Either a little spaghetti, some lasagna, cannelloni, all that. Love it. Love it all.